That's all good. Had to shake too much. Oh, thank you so much. No problem.
Welcome back to Breakfast with Bob, Boston Marathon Edition. We're presented and hosted by Hyland, stop your cramp, not your race, by Polar. Check out the Polar Vantage M and the Marathon Edition, which I have on right now. And UCAN, perform, work out, energize, one of my favorite people on the planet. His name is Dr. Bryan Solberg. Bryan, how many Bostons now is this for you?
Gosh, happy Friday, Bob. This will hopefully be Boston number 6 for me.
And your total number of marathons, because it changes daily?
Hopefully it'll be on foot number 134.
134 marathons. Okay. And growing up, you're a 5-sport athlete, you're anesthesiologist, and then did it start with tremors? Is that what happened first?
Yeah, I started with tremors and a lot of weakness problems.
Yeah.
And then I was dropping things and falling down and things that I didn't normally usually do. Yeah.
And did it take a while for them to figure out that you were missing that odontoid bone?
Right. There were some challenges with some of the lab studies that had been done.
Yeah.
But eventually, after about 4 or 5 months, somebody went back in, started all over again, and went back and looked at my X-rays and went, "Oh my gosh, how are you still alive?"
Because that's very rare, right? Because doesn't that protect the upper vertebrae?
Right. It keeps C1, C2, the upper neck vertebrae, from basically cutting the spinal cord. It's the same level that Christopher Reeve had his problems. So,
and how old were you at the time?
I was 39 at the time.
39 years old, professional, a father at that point?
A father at that point.
Father, and how did everything change?
I mean, just everything. When you go in, you lose your profession. I was an anesthesiologist.
So you couldn't do that anymore.
Work anymore.
Right.
And in fact, I had to relearn to walk after both of my surgeries.
Yes. And so you relearned to walk, and I'm sure those were really dark times for you. What do you look at as your lowest moment?
Oh gosh. I mean, when you have to turn your pager in, when you lose your job.
That's really a good point.
That was so hard. And then you lose all your contacts, all your friends, your whole world. It was because I was basically in the hospital working so hard, it all goes away.
And all those people from the hospital, you don't have contact with them anymore.
Right, and they're nice and everything, but they have their own lives, and you're not really there anymore. So.
And so then you moved to San Diego, or did you come visit San Diego first?
I went to medical school here in San Diego, was able to get a job back here, part-time job. They were nice enough to get me, so I was in Oregon working. Don't have your job there, you come back to San Diego.
Yes.
That's where I started working again.
And what were you doing work-wise that you could actually do with
did some teaching, did some review of charts, did some medical legal work.
And so at the same time, sport had been a huge part of your life. You were, again, a 5-sport athlete. Now, had you been a runner or anything like that beforehand?
I would do 1 marathon a year.
Okay.
I would go do 10 miles the week before and go, okay, I'm ready, and go do the marathon.
What marathon did you do?
It was a Portland Marathon every year. It always fell on my birthday, yeah.
And that was always cold and rainy. Wasn't that Thanksgiving weekend?
It was early October.
Early October. Oh, October. No,
it could be anything, yeah.
So
like Boston. It could be anything.
It could be anything. It could be anything. So you come back to San Diego, and you're out at Loya Cove, and you see this event happening, the San Diego Triathlon Challenge, the best day in Tri, and you're seeing a lot of people like you. People are dealing with, they're in a wheelchair, they're missing legs, and they're participating in this thing, and you see a map of the run course laying on the ground. And that was it. That changed everything.
Absolutely right. Yeah, I picked up that laminated card off the ground and went back the next day by myself on a Monday morning and did it. It was 13.1 miles at the time.
Right, it was a half marathon.
Myself with both my canes and my leg braces, and probably took me about 8 hours.
8 hours for a half marathon.
At least.
But it was something about that made you feel good about yourself again.
It did. It's like, oh my gosh, I can do this. In fact, I'm going to come back and get involved with this organization. And by meeting all those different people and seeing all the different athletes, it really took me from a place where, as you've talked about, when you're in that cave, the depression.
Yeah.
Your question you're asking yourself is, why me?
Right.
And you're changing the question, and it becomes, what's next?
And what became next? What was, after you did that half marathon, what was next?
What was next was doing some more full marathons, getting invited to the 2004 Boston Marathon here with my CAF gear. I did up a number of triathlons, including a couple half Ironman distances.
Yep.
And it just totally changed my whole, not just with sport, but with what I could do in life. I'm going to go coach my kids' Little League teams. I'm going to go coach the cross-country team for my wheelchair.
Work with the Scouts.
Work with the Scouts, 17 years with them. Yeah.
So the equipment you use leg braces, and you use like a cane.
Still need one cane.
One cane,
especially
almost like a ski pole type of thing.
It is, yeah.
How has that changed over the years? Because that's the one thing we've seen at CAF, obviously, is the change in equipment. Hand cycles get lighter, prosthetics get better. Right. Has the bracing gotten better?
It has. It's gotten lighter. It's gotten more anatomic.
Yes.
The one I use on my left leg is made out of air and plastic and Velcro. And
wow.
that's enough as opposed to iron and heavy plastics and things like that. The cane obviously is very lightweight.
Yes.
I'm going to use a wooden one on Monday because there's possible thunderstorms.
Right. Yeah. Metal, lightning isn't good with metal.
Metal. And they come. They'll even hinge them, and they'll bend where and basically have the hinge where you're anatomical, where you need supposed to bend. Yeah.
So how important has sport been for you? Like you said, you've done all these marathons and triathlons. Has that been a huge part of your life?
It translated into me having so much confidence and self-reliance and being willing to be out there and not be ashamed of having to use a cane,
right?
But in a way, almost being proud of it.
Right.
I get to use this. And
you also see when it's funny because obviously when people see you, they know you're dealing with something, right? It's very visible, right? And the same with our challenge athletes. If someone's in a wheelchair or someone's using a prosthetic leg, you can see what they're dealing with. Where before they'd be embarrassed about it, now it's almost embracing of, yeah, this is how I do it.
I've met so many great friends in the last couple miles of a marathon as I pass somebody.
Right.
And a various phrase comes out like blank, some guy with a cane and leg braces is going to pass me. And then we end up meeting with them and we talk along the way.
And become friends.
Like Bruce Dong.
Yes.
A huge CAF supporter. I met him at the Carlsbad Marathon at the end of one of the years. And the Challenge Athletes Foundation, I mean, please say a moment about that.
Absolutely.
For you. How many grants this year did CAF give out?
3,260 grants, totaling $4.8 million, 103 sports, 70 countries, all 50 states and Puerto Rico.
I mean, in changing lives one athlete at a time, and not just that athlete, but their whole family, their structure, the people they meet around them, and continuing to help out people, because that is how we find ourselves.
What's fascinating to me is you're one of those guys who just seems very comfortable in his own skin. Obviously, life dealt you a tough hand, but you've come through that, and you're always giving back to other people. You were also with us for how many years at CAF?
It's been almost 13
years
as a full-time quote-unquote volunteer. Yeah.
And so you've watched the growth.
It's been
You've
amazing.
been there.
I've seen all 4 buildings, and the great staff members that come in, and some are there for a short time, and they of course leave footprints on your heart, and of course there's ones who've been there for 5, 10, or longer years.
Right.
Yeah.
And you've also been that guy sending out the grants. And back in the day, we're mailing letters with a T-shirt and a check and and
a sticker.
Sticker.
Go into.
Now everything is it's wired. The check is the money is wired, and they get it immediately. Just watching as a guy who has gained so much from CAF, seeing other people gain from it. What's that meant to you?
Well, I'm very grateful and also very humbled by it, because I know I can never give back all that I've gotten from CAF. Without Challenge Athletes Foundation, I don't know if I'd still be alive. And if I was, I don't think I'd want to be alive.
Wow.
And every STTC, I think you asked me once, what's my favorite STTC? I said, it's the one that's coming. Because it's going to be where we're going to get to meet more people. Maybe like somebody like myself who's off on the perimeter, who we might not even meet that day,
right,
but whose life will get affected. And of course, there's, once again, thousands of people who we've never met, who have had their lives changed and been empowered. I love Jeffrey Asakow's word for that, empowered.
Exactly, it is empowered.
Yeah.
And you're wearing the shirt that every one of our grant recipients received this year, and you, my friend, you epitomize a hero of sport. You're changing lives every day.
I want to give us whatever I can. That's what I wish I could do more. But thank you for letting me be part of Challenge Athletes Foundation. Thank you for being a friend, and thank you for all the great things you do for everybody.
Dr. Bryan Solberg, a true hero of sport, running his what number here?
Sixth
Boston. Love it.
Hopefully we're number 134 on foot.
Number 134th marathon. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll be right back.